be able to do? The next thing after reading. Yes. Wow. Give it up for him. Good. So those of you who didn't raise your hand in regard to the questions of reading, it's not that you are bad students. Are you with me? Just that the team you are going to play is playing a game of what? The examiners that you are going to face. They are playing a game of what? A game of, it involves books. So they are playing a game of, there's a 4-letter word. A game of, the examiners, they are playing a game of, we're just playing around. But it's all correct, but I'm looking for one word. That's why I'm lagging. They are playing a game of words. Clap for her. Oh, let's give it for her. Clap for her. So please, the examiners are playing a game of words with you. So it's important that right now, about JHS, let's say you should have read how many books? From class 1 till now, you should have read about how many percent? How many books do you estimate that they should have put a good thing?
From class 1?
Yeah.
At least, not at least 10.
Okay, 10 books, or even more.
Yeah.
By now, you should have read over 50 books. Because there's a skill, like you said, that you need. Once you complete reading a book, the skill is what? Give it up for him. Now, when a person is able to read a book, is able to summarize. Now, the next thing is that the person can now create from their minds their own what? Yeah, their own what? Stop, give it up for her. So now you have a situation of a storyboard. You understand why this is here now? So let's pick the steps. The first is to have control over the what? Reading books. 2 is to have control over doing what? Have control over what? So how many subjects are you reading? 10 subjects. So the 10 subjects, who of you have read from cover to cover for the 10 subjects? Picking them like books to be read. How many of you have read the books that are going to be examined on from cover to cover? All of them. How many of you have read it from cover to cover? I know, you see, the problem is that most students are waiting for who to read it to them. Most students are waiting for who to read it to them. Most students are waiting, when it comes to the subjects they are reading, they are waiting for who to read, someone to read it to them. Who's that? They are waiting for the teacher to read it to them. And that is one of the biggest problems that you guys face. So a lot of you are not invested in picking the book to find out what is what inside. It means that you cannot be able to do what? If you are depending on the teacher to go and read it in his house and come and deliver, it means you will not want to be able to cover it. 2, when it comes to being able to do what? You remember the second step? After reading, you should be able to, you will have a big problem. So for example, if you have read everything in your math textbook, I can ask you, can you summarize everything in your math textbook for me? Is it possible? Can you do it? Can you do it? You can do it. No, yeah. Now a summary will cover what? What does a summary cover? Yeah. You have read a book. So what does a summary cover? Come on. The summary covers the important topics. Now, after being able to master the art of summary, you will now realize that your imagination now can do what? Can create. Again, give it up for him. Please, the reason I'm saying I'm letting you clap for them is because they are now thinking like who? Give it up for her too. So they are now allowing their mind to be. It's like now you can see your opponent. Does that make sense? Some of you have been learning from class 1 and you don't know who you are playing against. And it means that you are walking to the park with what? Blind. And how many goals can you score? And how many goals can they score you? So if someone gets 9 in maths, he's been learning for 9 years and got 9 in maths. Do you realize that the problem is that he didn't pay attention to his what? Opponent. Does that make sense? And the exam doesn't care how tall you are, how what? Short you are, how what? How beautiful you are, how what? But there's something you can do, right? So from today, what will be the goal? What is the goal? From today, yes. Yes, not just read. Yes, read in such a way that you can do what? Summarize what you've read. Now please, do you know that sometimes when you read a book, you don't understand everything inside the book? But do you know that you can still summarize it even though you don't understand everything in the book? Do you know that? You can still have a good summary, right? Oh, in this chapter, it talked about this and this and this and this and that. But maybe I didn't understand this particular aspect and why it said this was that and why it did this and that. Does that make sense? And a lot of people dialogue when it comes to books. How many of you have watched book reviews where people sit and talk about what a summary of the book? How many of you have watched any type of book review where they talk and is it that do they explain it like they understand everything in the book? They speak of it like, oh, I read this, but I'm wondering why the author wrote it this way, right? Or why he did it this way, or why he did it that way. Now, this skill, you need to have it. So, let's work with the mindset that it's not everything that you will understand right from the get-go, right? But it takes what? Time. But you still can be able to summarize. Now, when you come to the summary board, what is the next thing that you should be able to do? Like you said, you should be able to construct your own stories. Now, after constructing your own story, creating real perceptions of the elements in the story, we come here. So, we know what Legos are, right? What do they use Legos for? What do they use Legos for? Yeah. For building. Good. Now, do you think alphabets are also Legos, can be described as Legos? Are you sure? Why? Can you convince me why alphabets can be described as Legos? They are used for forming. But what the first thing is used to form? When the alphabets begin to come together, what is the first thing? Yes, words. So please, there's something I need you to remember. There's something I need you to remember when we think about this examination. I'm saying that the opponents you are going to face are what? Words coming from the. So it's the student who can maneuver their way around those words who get the highest score. Does that make sense? Yes. Like I said, so we started from. Let me put this way. So we started from mastering how to read, and then we came to learning how to also reconstruct the story. Now, the story that you reconstruct, what do you see here? It's the smart memory mastery. So you construct stories in your mind, but you need a skill to be able to what? Master what to do with those stories. So this is called the Lego board, what I call the Lego board. Over here, is the learning technique. L for what? L for what? Learning technique. You need learning techniques. Now the E is what? Who can guess what the E is about? Yeah. Expression here. But what are you going to face? You're going to face something. Yes, exam. So you need to attack the examination. So exam attack. the J stands for? So you need to understand the learning board, you need to understand the exam board, you also need to understand the gaming board. How many of you know this? What is it?
Chess.
The chess. How many of you can play this? Okay, now is it that easy to play this?
No.
It's not. Now imagine, and how many marbles do you have to play the chess? How many marbles? How many? Well, each person has how many marbles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And by 2. So they have how many? 16 marbles. So what I'm trying to say is that you must understand how the gameplay affects your learning. How many of you know that a lot of people learn when they begin to play games? Raise your hands. How many of you recognize that a lot of children, their imagination to solve problems increases when they play games? How many of you have seen your friends? They are doing, is it mama and dada, and they are cooking in the kitchen? Do you think that is just playing? That is not just playing. So there's a way you can also use gameplay. There's a way you can use gameplay to master your exam, the course that you are doing. Then the final one is O. What do you think O stands for? O. Yes, for wiring. And what else? So what can you do with a wiring? With a wiring, your hands should be able to do what with them? It starts with O. Organize and how? What else? What other O's can I think of? Operate. Clap for him. Give it up. So please, in maths, there are 4 things we operate. How many of you know that? What are the 4 operations in maths? In maths, what are the 4 elements of operation? Yeah. Yes. 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 It seems so simple, but the very foundation of maths exists on those operations. So you understand? So again, master how to read and summarize. 2, learn how to reconstruct on the story board. Then you have what? What is this here? I call it the Lego board. The Lego board is where you learn how to fit your ideas to form answers to problems. Does that make sense? Yes. So this is the 3-step approach that examiners say students are weak at. So the examiner says students are weak at reading. Students are weak at visualizing concepts. And because of that, students do not have the ability to fit the ideas in forming solutions. This is the problem. So how many of you want to take up this challenge of preparing for the opponents? How many of you want to take that challenge? Yes. So please, imagine you are preparing for the opponents. The first thing you need to do is, for example, for your maths course, how many topics are you going to cover? How many topics are in the maths card, so to speak? How many topics do you have present with the maths? So imagine if you're playing a game of cards, imagine these are the cards that you're using. How many topics exist in the maths topic? The BC that you're going to write. How many topics are you expected to cover? Do you know? That is the biggest problem to be able to solve the problem. You must know how many chapters there are in the... So how many chapters are in the book that you read? 8. Give me 5. Now she remembered that. Give it up for her. For anybody who has read any book and you are asked how many chapters are there and you cannot tell, what does that mean? You didn't pay attention. What else? You didn't finish and you just... Yes. So it was not deep reading, right? It means that someone told you to read it and you just read it. And I know for most of you, your parents, it's like you are doing this for your parents. How many of you feel like you are doing this for your parents? Frank, how many of you feel like you're doing this for mommy and daddy, not for yourself? Yeah, it feels like that. But what are you learning today? What are we learning today? Huh? To get to pass the beats, it must be a personal investment. Like you must actually feel like, oh, I understand the game. Now this is my strategy. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the questions that you saw, like I said, a number of you did very well. There was over
65.
65, good. And we have someone with 60 over 65. Let's give it up for the person. I don't want to mention names.
Oh, you can mention the no.
I can mention names. Oh, okay, so that was Brown. That's you. Okay, so Brown. So coincidentally, you happen to be one of the people who raised their hand to have read the books. Right? How has reading contributed over the years to your learning? Personally. What I'm saying, do you think it's true? Reading, does it contribute to your understanding of the exam question? And what exactly do you do so that you can, like you said, read and, like, the exam question is in effect like a what? The exam is in effect like a what? Like a storybook. Because all those things come from some story stuff, right? And you should be able to do something, once you read it, you should be able to do something to the question. In your own small way, you should be able to do what to the question? Summarize the whole this question in so many words. What is it all up to? Does that make sense? And apart from that, what do you do with the question? After summary, you should be able to do what with the question? Analyze. Give it up for her once again. Now, once you can effectively analyze, you can now get to the point where you do what? You start doing what? Yes. Presenting a solution or fitting in a solution for the problem you are facing. How many of you would like to try this? One, I want to know what practical will today you are starting to do so that you can meet up the challenge. What is the practical? I can give you the chance to talk about your experience. Yes, the brief moment. How reading, whether it's true, what we're saying is it true? They are not always direct. And he says you have to think. Now in thinking, here's where we said you must have a what kind of memory? A memory that can picture things. But sometimes you just have to sit down and say, okay, what are they saying? Okay, they are saying a man did this and then that. Okay, so how do they connect? Does that make sense? You need that type of skill. Any other? Nice. So putting important parts together when the question is not what? Direct. Excellent. Let's clap for them. So we had also friends. By the way, this is just level 1. I think it's level 1. Level 1. So I don't know if you want us to try a level 2. I don't know. You want us to try level 2?
Yeah, we'll try it.
Yes. And then there's a level 3.
Yeah.
So please, but before we try level 2, there's something you must do. The mass book from cover to cover. Even without the help of your teacher. Like I said, just as you pick any story, what is the goal today? Even without the help of your teacher. Because for the next level 2, it means it's going to pack the punch. Does that make sense? Level 2, to pack the punch. A number of you got above the middle mark, which is what? 40? The middle mark we get
38.
38.
Yeah.
So it means we have
Yoada.
Correct. Then there's Ansa. We also had about the Ansa. Great. Good. So you recognize that he's also one of the people who
read books.
Please, this is not magical. It works like like that. So if you increase your comprehension skills with your exposure to reading, it will directly impact your results. Does that make sense? So we have Ansa Ifwa. Yes, we have. Am I wrong?
Yes, she's.
And she's Ansa Ifwa.
Yeah.
There's Bright. Is it
It's all in there.
two are Hene. Okay. Bright, is that you? Nice. We also heard about the past one. Now we have Benjamin. Is that Benjamin? Yeah. Great. Now we have Ansa Derek, who is it? With what? Is it Amon?
Ahano.
Ahanom.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ahanom.
Ahamon. Okay. And then there is, forgive me if I mentioned, so there's Kojoboche, is Kojoboche around?
Ian.
Ian, okay. And then there's Pamilabi. Yeah,
Hey.
boy and bread. There's also Catherine, how are you? Yes, Catherine, great. Are you a person who likes reading? How much reading do you do? On a personal level? Can we listen to how much reading do you on a personal level do you do? If you don't like reading and you're getting this, then if you start liking reading, you will be one of the best students in the country. Not even a joke. If you just left your mind and your mind is able to do this, the moment you increase just pick the book and your aim is to start from the beginning and do it. Go to the end, and after you're done, try and do it. It means you are. It's like you are lifting what? When you are reading, it's like you are lifting bars. Does that make sense? So when you enter the exam room and they give you some weight to lift with your mind, do you understand what your mind does? Your mind looks at it like, what's this? And if it looks difficult, your mind finds a way around it. That's how it works. But for those who don't read, they'll be waiting on bringing back what the teacher told them in the what? In the classroom. And that's where the problem is. Does that make sense? That's where the problem is. So on like I said, this is just a storyboard, and you can create a storyboard for yourself. Like literally. So this is used to explain various math concepts like linear equations. Yes, we just put some of these things inside this. Simply going back to the way that we used to play. Yeah. Just treat the maths like a storyboard. Every question comes from a story. And let your mind play around with gaming the question. Think of the question like a game. And like I mentioned, there are so many different ways that you can think of it. Like I said, this is just plastic pure water rubber designed as learning tools. Yes, for the sake of reconstructing the object. So I would love to come back again, maybe, I don't know, after the second, after the second exam that we try, where we actually look at specific examples, where you tell me, this part I find it difficult. Can we do something on the storyboard? Would you love something like that? I don't know. Where you have, I have a problem with this particular topic. So on the storyboard, what ideas are there for this particular topic? Does that make sense? And there's even one famous figure storyboarding where it deals with the operation. The operation, so maybe I'll end with you. I think most of you know that. How many of you know that you can use your fingers to tell the timetable? Tell the timetable. You can. I'm just showing you how numbers storyboard, even on your fingers, just to excite interest in visual what? Visual what? So it's not enough for you to just read the math question. You have to put the math question into visual terms. Does that make sense? It makes it easier to understand. So for example, look at this trick. Not a trick, but it's a pattern of arrangement. So if I put my finger down, how many fingers do I have? How many fingers do I have? 9. I think I have a small makeshift. I have this here. So what is this? What is this? This is a simple word, marker, right? This is a marker. Just empty the marker. Like I cut the edge and empty it so that it can fit on my fingers. So if I put it here, how many fingers are up? Apart from the one that's covered, how many are up? 9. Now if I flip it, tell me how many are up on this side and how many are up on that side. 1 there, and how many are up on this side? 8. Now if I move it, how many are up on this side, how many are up on that side? Yes, and this 3 and 6, this. Is someone hearing something?
Yes.
What are you hearing? 9 times 8. Now the funny thing is, how many jumps from 9 to 8? Or if you're 8, how many jumps do you move from 8 to be able to get to 9? 1. So guess what? 8. Now I'm going to put one finger down, one jump. How many fingers are? 8. So if I'm 8, 2, I'm going to put one finger down for each of the 2. Right? Now how many fingers are up here? And how many are up here? 6. So that's what? 16. So if I flip this, 8, 3, means I'm going to put one finger down for each of the 3s. And what is that? 2, 4. I'm just helping to understand that there is a power in visual boarding. Does that make sense? That there's a very, very powerful effect of visualizing things on the mind. But if you don't learn how to do what first, read, you can't get to this place. And once you finish reading, if you don't learn how to, you can't get to this place. Now, when it comes to math questions, a math question is usually a very short sentence. Now, what do you summarize a question to? You can summarize a book into a paragraph. What do you summarize a sentence into? A word. Give it up for him. So how about in my next visit? I know you would have read the questions, right? Right, the exam question that you're going to read at level 2. And when I come, I want you to tell me what does each question summarize to? Can we play that game?
Yes.
What each question summarizes to. If you can find that, then we can create a story on the what? On the storyboard. And then we can move into the what? Lego board. So which side do you think is very complex? Is it the reading, the storyboard, or the Lego board? Which one is very complex? Share, no one is wrong, just how you feel. Which one do you feel is very complex? The Lego board, yes, this is extremely complex. But you cannot think through here if you cannot what? If you cannot create a story from what you've read. And if you cannot summarize, you cannot create a what? And if you cannot read well, you cannot also summarize. So it's one big chain. If one of the chains break, the whole system does what? Falls down. So those of you who have been reading, like I said, the examiner says your problem is reading and what? And what? Visualizing. Problems. Reading and visualizing. So we want to hammer on these 2 key points. And let's come back again and meet the next time after you are done. And let's see how well you do it. Now that we'll be conscious of it. Does that make sense? So thank you very much for the time. I know you've been studying late nights, trying to prepare. But like I said, you need the strategy. Keep the opponents in your what? Keep the opponents in your mind. Don't just think that you are opening the book. There is a battle going on, okay? And the battle is to find a student who can overcome the exam. Yeah. And we do not want to spend 9 years to go into the exam room what?
Blind.
That is the worst thing you can do. And what makes it worse is that the mobile phone now has replaced your visual board. So students cannot generate their own visual board unless they have a what? Mobile phone. So if you reduce the mobile phone usage, you leave room for you to do what?
Read.
Read a lot of information. And now you allow your mind to create its own what? TikTok. You allow your mind to create its own what? This one, I don't want to call it TikTok. We're going to call it what? No. 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 We're going to call it Think Talk. Are you with me? Why are we saying Think Talk? It means if you want your brain to aid you in thinking, right? You should focus on doing what? Reading more. Thank you very much for your time, and hoping that we meet again and then actually delve into specific questions.